مشاهدينا، أنا حبيت أشارك مع حضراتكم الرحلة اللي أنا كنت مدعوة CBC وزوم أفريكا للمشاركة في مؤتمر العلماء والباحثين اللي جم من مختلف دول العالم لهنا لينجنبي. احنا جينا بالباخرة دي أو المركب 114 عالم من مختلف دول العالم والجنسيات المختلفة. الحقيقة الرحلة ما كانتش سهلة، احنا كنا في كنشاسا وتحركنا بالطيارة أكتر من ساعتين لكنسنجاني، وبعد كده رحنا طريق حوالي ساعة لحد ما وصلنا للمركب، وقعدنا حوالي أكتر من 6 ساعات من كنسنجاني علشان نيجي هنا ينجنبي نقعد أكتر من 3 أيام في مباحثات و سيشنز علشان في الآخر العلماء يطلعوا بكونكلوجن هم ايه الاطروحات اللي هيطرحوها للعالم كله في مؤتمر الكوب 27 اللي هيكون في القاهرة ان شاء الله. خليكم معانا، معايشة كاملة، زوم أفريقيا. مشاهدينا، احنا مع حضراتكم في ينجنبي والمؤتمر التحضيري للعلماء والمستكشفين اللي جم من مختلف دول العالم علشان يطرحوا رؤيتهم علشان نحارب تغير المناخ اللي بيهدد العالم كله. معايا دلوقتي بروفيسور بيفاني، هي من امريكا، وهتطرح يعني مع حضراتكم بعض اللي وصلوا ليه خلال ال3 ايام اللي احنا موجودين هنا في ينجنبي. وهي جت مخصوص من أمريكا علشان تكون هنا في الكونغو علشان تشارك في المؤتمر التحضيري. Welcome to our program Zoom Africa.
Thank you for having me.
So what's your title?
My name is Dr. Pavani Chirkupalli and I am from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the United States.
So you came from US directly to here to have a lot of idea about the climate change and everything. So tell us, what's your idea to fight against the climate change?
So from the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, we know water is sustainable goal number 6. We do need to protect water. Unfortunately, many people not aware that climate change or carbon emissions also related to water.
Yeah.
For example, like oil and gas extraction and mining processes produce large volumes of pollutant wastewater. And in oil and gas case, the residual oil in the water also can evaporate into the environment and cause further emissions along with extraction processes. So I came here to talk about, give a keynote lecture about using circular water technologies which are affordable, cost efficient, and reusable, and that can be used to not only clean the water, also recover these precious resources, whether it is a crude oil or precious metals from the water again, so that we can make use of sustainably all our resources.
Yeah, so you do presentation.
Yes.
Well, what's inside the presentation, briefly?
Sure. So what we are doing is since 2014, at University of Toronto in Canada and United Kingdom, Imperial College London, I worked on developing this sponge-based water technology. It is a simple mattress-based sponge. What I do is I coat them with sand particles. So these sponges can attract the oil droplets like a magnet from the water, and we can collect that and recover the oil again to further reuse it. And not only that, we can also filter the water up to down to below 4 ppm, which can be drinkable water that is according to environment EPA standards. So we can produce both from highly contaminated industrial wastewater to drinkable clean water, as well as recover the residual crude oil from the water. So I discussed I showed my technology and what can be possible in Democratic Republic of Congo, given they are becoming big players in mining to meet global electric vehicle demand, and also they recently started crude oil extraction again.
So this is the 3rd day here in Yangambie, and there is that final discussions we want to know the ideas. It's gone finally in this conference.
So my recommendations is, of course, forestation is very important from the water point of view. My recommendation is we do need these, DRC do need to rely on their natural resources to grow economically.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they have to do this in a sustainable manner.
Yeah.
And given like these activities have already like mining has been going on in other developed countries
Yeah.
for over 50 years, we have seen the environmental impact all around the world.
Yeah.
So now when we are entering in this era, in this industry, in DRC, like we do have to like, we could apply these best practices from the other countries.
Yes.
And the lessons learned from the mistakes,
Yeah.
from the oil spills and fracking water pollution.
Yeah.
From those mistakes, like we can bring up the best practices and implement here, so that we can make use of all this. It is not just a DRC problem. Like entire world is looking up to DRC for their electric vehicle production.
Yeah.
So everybody can be a partner in it, in solving the environmental pollution problem, at the same time meeting the global metal ions, cadmium demand.
Yeah.
And secondly, like DRC is, as we know, like it is growing, like it is going to be like one of the young people's country
Yeah.
in the near future. So there is a lot of human capital that is accessible to global community. So we do have to have like global collaborations with
Yeah.
universities, so that we can train the young people here,
Yeah.
both in Congo as well as abroad, so that they can bring their expertise from other countries like US, Canada,
Yeah.
or Singapore, where the water is like a major part as well. So we can bring these best talented people and bring them back to Congo, and they can take care of their own environment.
Yeah.
Engineers, scientists, environmentalists, policymakers. So there is a lot of opportunity in terms of education reforms as well.
Okay, thank you. You will join us in Cairo in the COP27?
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that's so great. Thank you, Professor Beverly, to be with us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
مشاهدي زوم أفريكا، هنروح لعالم تاني ونشوف رأيه إيه في تغير المناخ. خليكم معنا. مشاهدينا، احنا بنتكلم لسه عن المؤتمر التحضيري للعلماء اللي جم من دول العالم للكونغو الديمقراطيه، وتحديدا في ينجنبي، علشان يطرحوا رؤيتهم لمحاربه تغير المناخ. سنغافوره ليها دور كبير جدا. معانا دلوقتي عالم من علماء سنغافوره هو هون تشينديو. Welcome to our program Zoom Africa.
Thank you.
So what's your specialist?
I'm a climate and ecosystem scientist at the National University of Singapore Centre for Nature-Based Climate Solutions.
Yeah, and you came here to do a presentation about the climate change.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so what's inside the presentation?
So I've presented on one of our latest research that has just been published about the effects of large-scale reforestation in the Asia Pacific, which can potentially reduce drought risk and increase water yield for many of these water insecure regions. So in the Asia Pacific, there are 1.35 billion people living in these water insecure regions. And they can potentially benefit from reforestation, bringing more water to these areas.
So, and in Singapore, there is a lot of ideas about the fighting to against the climate change.
Yes.
So tell us more about that.
So there's Singapore has just promised 100 billion Singapore dollars into fighting climate change over the next few decades. So it's going to be a very massive investment from the Singapore government to help Singapore to adapt to climate change, to mitigate climate change, and so on. So it will involve a lot of infrastructure. It will also involve a lot of nature-based solutions. So at the center that I work at, the Center for Nature-Based Climate Solutions, we are looking to develop solutions such as how to protect, manage, and restore natural ecosystems, so they can fulfill their function to effectively protect the planet, to protect the people, to help us make us more resilient to climate change. We are also seeking to improve the credibility of the carbon market by providing more evidence-based science. So we can say, in fact, during this Yangambi scientific conference, many scientists have discussed their findings regarding measurements and findings of carbon. And actually what we can see is that even though many scientific discoveries are being made, there are still a lot of unknowns regarding where is the carbon, how much carbon is there, what could be the response of ecosystems, forests, etc. to future climate change. And also a whole lot of other ecosystem responses, ecosystem feedbacks. And all of this requires more scientific research, so we can provide a really good evidence base for policymakers to decide how should we carry out climate change adaptation, what should we protect, how, where, how can we maximize the benefits of protection and restoration measures while also avoiding some of the potential risks.
Okay, now it's the last day. Okay, the third day.
Yes.
So and you attend the final conference. What the recommendation or the conclusion?
I think we'll see the Yangambi Declaration officially coming out very soon. I think some of the basic things that we can agree is that good science, robust science coming from scientists is really important in contributing towards climate change policy, climate change mitigation, climate change adaptation. So basing our decisions on good science, working collaboratively across different countries to deliver good science that policymakers can act on, that markets can base their decisions on. People can buy and sell, for example, carbon credits, externalities can be included into pricing mechanisms, etc. So all of this at a fundamental level requires good science. So I think this is the main message that we scientists have from this conference.
So it's your first time here to Yangambi, even
yes, indeed.
Congo?
Yes.
What's your experience?
I think Congo is a very fascinating country. I do hope that there's a lot of potential. I see a lot of natural and human capital, a lot of potential in the people. So I hope that they can develop sustainably, they can, while also protecting their forests and contributing to the fight against climate change.
And you will be join us in Cairo in the COP27?
I will not be there, but members from my Center for Nature-Based Climate Solutions from the National University of Singapore will be there.
Okay, thank you so much, really.
Thank you so much.
مشاهدي زوم افريقيا، احنا مكملين مع حضراتكم جولتنا في ينجمبي. الحقيقه يعني ما كانش ينفع نكون موجودين في ينجمبي اللي هي كانت اشهر مدينه للابحاث والدراسات الزراعيه والمنتجات والاخشاب من بدايه العشرينات للثلاثينات للسبعينات لحد ما كان في برامج هنا تبنتها منظمه اليونسكو. احنا موجودين دلوقتي مع حضراتكم، هناخدكم في جوله لمعمل خاص جدا للنباتات وبيدرس اعمار الشجر وتاثيرها على تغير المناخ. هناخد حضراتكم دلوقتي في جوله هي معقده شويه بس هتبين قد ايه المعمل ده مهم لشرح تاثيرات تغير المناخ على العالم كله. خليكم معنا. مشاهدينا، احنا دلوقتي موجودين جوه المعمل لدراسة الأشجار والنباتات النادرة والمهمة جدا ليهم علشان تأثيراتها على إعادة هندلة تغير المناخ. معنا دلوقتي بروفيسور هيبو. Welcome to our program Zoom Africa.
Thank you very much.
So we will start from here, right?
Yes.
So can you explain what that?
Yeah. So what we do is we take samples of wood from the forest to study here in the lab.
Okay.
The first step that we do is next door is in the woodworking workshop. We take small samples. We take them in here this lab is the wood preparation lab, the sample preparation lab.
Okay.
So we take small blocks of wood, and then we put them on the microtopes.
Here.
Yes, this one or this one, and there's another one there. Different kinds of microtopes.
Yeah.
To make very, very thin sections of the wood, microscopic thin sections of the wood, so that we can study those under the microscope.
Okay.
So after we cut the small thin sections, we first bring them to the different baths to dehydrate them, to give them a color. We can give them blue color, we can give them pink color. These different colors are to differentiate the different cell types.
And different result.
And different cell types, so that we can easily see this is this cell type, this is this cell type. The result of which you can see here. So what you see here are microscopic thin sections. So all the wood samples are fixed on small glass plates that we can put under a microscope. So after this is done, we go to the microscope.
Yeah.
At the microscope, we are going to study how a tree grows, how fast it grows, but also in exactly which time of the year the tree grows. Okay. But then also when exactly the moment is that the cells start absorbing a lot of carbon. So when the actual wood is being formed, because there is a difference between when a tree grows and forms very light cells with almost no content, and in a later stage those cells are being filled with wood. Okay. So we are trying to sort out when exactly that happens, and this is very important information for the flux tower that we have here in the forest, where we are measuring when carbon is being taken up. We compare that with permanent inventory plots where we are monitoring the tree growth, but we are going to see that there is a difference between what the flux tower measures when the carbon is being taken up as according to the flux tower and the tree growth. Okay. And that difference is probably because of this difference in growth. The trees are growing, they make cells that contain almost nothing. Yeah. And it's later on that the cells take up carbon, which is what the flux tower records. Okay. And to really sort out that if that is really because of this differentiation in processes in a tree growth, we have to do this work. Okay. So this is connected to the work that we do in the forest. Okay. Yeah.
There is another room we will see.
There is another room over there. That's where we study the thin sections under the microscope.
اوكي مشاهدينا هنروح للغرفة الثانية هنشرح أكتر هم بيستخدموا إزاي الأشجار إن هم بيقيسوا أعمارها وتأثيراتها في إن هي بتسحب ثاني أكسيد الكربون وده تأثيره على تغير المناخ. خليكم معنا هنخش الغرفة الثانية دلوقتي. مكملين مع حضراتكم. احنا دخلنا دلوقتي الغرفة الثانية و Professor, this is type of food.
Yes.
So you can now explain.
Yeah. Okay. So this is another kind of research that we are doing, and so we are sanding the surface of this kind of stem discs, big ones, small ones, everything that we find. Yeah. And by sanding, we visualize. It becomes clear what the tree ring, the growth ring pattern is. Yeah. And under the microscope, what we are doing here is we indicate the boundaries of each tree ring. And with this device here that is coupled to the microscope and to the computer, so we can actually directly see what we see under the microscope. We can also directly see it on the computer. Yeah, so it's all connected to the computer. And we can actually measure the growth rings by using this device. So here with this device, the computer tracks how fast and how much we move. Okay. And we can indicate on the computer each time when we see a growth ring, and the growth rings are being measured automatically with this down to the micrometer. Okay. Yeah. And we use these patterns of tree rings, ring widths, to compare with the environmental variables. For example, temperature, precipitation, but also CO2 concentration, to see if there is an influence of these environmental variables on the growth of trees.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
So we, by just counting the number of rings, we can also estimate how old a certain tree was. And one of the discoveries that we did recently is that the big trees in the forest, they seem to be very old. Yeah. But they are typically the trees that grow fast. So we found big trees that are about 200 years old. But what we discovered is that if you look at the very little ones that are underneath the canopy, that live in the shade, they have another life strategy. They don't grow fast. They are in a dormant state almost all of the year. If you put them under the microscope, you see a lot of very small tree rings. They almost don't grow, and those small trees underneath the big ones can be much older than the big ones.
Okay.
And so that's
strange.
It's not strange. It's just different kinds of life strategies.
Yeah.
But it's important for us scientists and also for forest managers to know that the big trees, they are important for big carbon stocks.
Yeah.
But the small trees underneath the canopy, they are important for continuity of carbon stocks.
Okay.
They are important for the long-term carbon capital in a forest. So that is what we discovered by counting tree rings.
Okay, that's fine.
Every
ring, it's like a year.
If you look closely, you can see. Yes. So we do a lot of research on which species form annual rings. Not every tree species forms annual rings. Yeah. But this one is called Pericopsis elata. It's known as Aframosia. It's a very well-known timber. Yeah. It's also protected by CITES. And we do a lot of research on it, first of all because it is an emblematic timber species. So we need to understand its ecology, its growth, and how its growth is related to climate, yes. to see whether the climate in the future will still sustain its existence. But next to that, it's an interesting species to us because it does form these annual rings. And we have been able to show that because we sometimes take small samples to send to a lab for radiocarbon dating, so that we can actually measure the age of the first or the second ring, and compare that to the age that we estimate by counting the tree rings.
It's very complicated. Yeah.
It's all complicated research, yes. Yeah. But so we organized, we started doing all that in Belgium. We took a lot of samples to Belgium, and our Congolese PhD students needed to come to Belgium to be able to study the wood. Yeah. But now we decided to organize, to install a laboratory here in the middle of the forest, so that we can study ecological characteristics. We can study forest ecology, wood ecology within the rainforest. And more Congolese students can take advantage of the setup. So at the moment we have about 10 students who are working here.
Congolese?
Mostly Congolese students. Yeah. Sometimes you also have master thesis students who come. Right. Sometimes you have Belgian PhD students who come and do some research here. Yeah. But most of them are Congolese PhD students. And the responsible of the lab, the one who is responsible of the lab is one of my PhD students. Oh, okay, so it's actually being run by a PhD student. Yeah. And they do very well.
Oh, that's really amazing.
So it's partly independent. Yeah. But of course they depend on us for consumables. For example, if some of the staining agents are out of stock, then we send more equipment and more consumables. So that they can go on.
Very fine.
And they sometimes come to Belgium for training. Yeah. And of course, they also come to Belgium for to get close to the professor, so that we can work on publications and we can work on their PhD thesis. And they come to Belgium, for example, to defend their theses. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of collaboration. And sometimes we come down here to help them out. We also sometimes organize trainings here within the lab. Okay. At the moment, for example, we are training 3 people from the local INRA research institute to become assistants here in the lab. Yeah. So we are working together with INRA as well. Great. We are integrating INRA agents within the functioning of the lab.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. مشاهدينا زي ما شفنا مع حضراتكم احنا موجودين دلوقتي في معمل الأخشاب اللي موجود جوه قلب غابة ينجنبي. يعني شفنا قد ايه المعمل ده معقد ومهم جدا للحفاظ على البيئة. خليكم معانا فاصل رجعنا لكم تاني. مشاهدي زوم أفريقيا، برحب بحضراتكم من ينجنبي بالكونغو الديمقراطية. والحقيقة لفت نظري شاب من إيطاليا بقاله 20 سنة هنا في ينجنبي، هو باولو تشاروتي. هنعرف معاكم هو بيعمل إيه، والقصة بتاعته فعلا قصة يعني غريبة وممكن كتير من المصريين يقلدوها. معانا دلوقتي مستر باولو تشاروتي. Welcome to our program, Zoom Africa.
Thank you.
So we need to know why you are here. And 20 years ago, your story is a start.
Okay.
So let us.
Okay. So my story is actually not my story. It's the story of the center for which I work, which is the Center for International Forestry Research. 20 years ago, we started to think about what was possible to do for the problems that were affecting the forests of sub-Saharan Africa, Congo Basin.
Yeah.
And the DRC is the largest country in the Congo Basin with the largest amount of forest. And one of the points that was really very, very interesting in the negative sense was that the human resources to manage this extent of forest were not enough in those days.
Yeah.
So the first activity that we thought was how do you increase and improve the number and the quality of local human resources.
Okay.
That's how we started with the University of Kisangani, which is a Kisangani, it's 100 kilometers from here.
Okay.
Where up to this day, we formed more or less 250 masters and PhD students.
Then from Congo?
All Congo, yes. It's a national call for the whole of Congo, not only the province of Chopo.
Okay.
And then the next step from them is that, okay, now you have some human resources. You would need much more, but at least with those, can we engage them in the landscape, the place where you are now, for example, in Yangambi, to do their own research for development, research for academia, etc. Yeah. So that was step number 2, and that's why today you find ourselves here in Yangambi, because Yangambi is a place where this type of research for development is possible. It was possible in the past. This was the largest research station on the planet in the 1950s. Then it's been a little bit abandoned for many reasons. Today, the objective is, the question is, can we bring it back to the old glory with new research, with new programs, with up-to-date information? And that information, for me, for my institution, should come from the local human resources which produce that information.
Oh, that's great. So that you are here.
That's why we are here. And it is only one line, because then, of course, human resources, research for development is not the only thing that will allow you to make a landscape working. In a landscape, you have many things. You have people that do their own activities, agriculture, for example, or they do their charcoal from, again, the forest. They produce timber for industrial uses. They consume wild meat, animals from the forest, capture and then sold on the market. So in that sense, we are also working all these value chain, they are called, meaning that from the production to the selling of these commodities, we try to work with the people doing the activities to improve the way they do things.
Okay.
And I can give you just one example. For the charcoal, for example, which is 90% of the whole energy need of the DRC. It's still derived from energy coming from natural resources. So that is a very big problem, because you can, you deforest to produce something that it is very much needed to cook the food that you have to eat. So we are operating along all the steps of this chain. From the normally man, that produce the charcoal in the forest, improving the way they do it. From plantation, because you cannot only use the primary forest, you also need to use plantations, which are fast growing and allow to use some of the charcoal that is not from the primary forest, but from plantation.
And you learn or teach the farmer here to do that?
We do it together, because they know much better than anybody of us how the soil, the climate respond to what you do. But there is no, for example, there is no culture of planting, replanting trees, because belief is that the forest is there forever. Unfortunately, that is not true, and satellite images can tell you very clearly.
Yes, exactly.
And so it's a learning experience for both. We try to tell them that agroforestry scheme, so agriculture plus trees, is a better way forward, just one of the options forward, than just consuming the soil, produce today, and then move to the next piece of land the next day, and then next year, and then next year. And by doing that, you try to remain on the same piece of land, use less primary forest, cause less deforestation, and maybe still have the products that you were used to produce before, like charcoal in this case. You will have your charcoal maybe produced by fast-growing trees on your agricultural land.
Okay.
Including in addition to agricultural commodities, of course, because they still need to eat.
Yes, of course.
And this is, it's always a learning process. You can't teach, you just cannot come with lessons, do this. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's a very long term, and that's why we're talking about 20 years or plus.
Yeah.
It's a very long-term engagement, understanding the socio-cultural dynamics, and then you move to the techniques. Of course, there are some techniques that are better than others.
Yeah. You are from Italy.
Yeah.
And now you are here in Congo 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's not hard for you to live here for long time?
No, I would say.
Tell us your experience.
Yeah, sure.
To deliver a message to the others.
Yeah. Well, I made the choice 20 years ago when I accepted a work in Cameroon.
Yeah.
And to work on the forest of the Congo Basin.
Yeah.
Still for the Center for International Forestry Research. And I think I never regretted that. It's a very, very interesting, very challenging environment, as you can see in these days while you are here.
Yeah.
But those challenges should not be the reasons for decreasing the importance of the problems that you see here.
Yeah.
You know, today we discuss about deforestation, climate change, and you see that the Amazon is starting to give some signs of stress.
Yeah.
Maybe emitting more, for example, than absorbing carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
The Congo Basin is really one of the last pieces where this battle can still be fought today.
Yeah.
And I think that is worth the effort of staying here, working with local staff, the team here, also international, because there is a need of this exchange.
Yes, exactly.
But voila, why? That's why I'm still here. I think it's the positives are much bigger than the negatives.
Yeah, and when I walk in Yangambi, all of the people knows you. Yeah, because you communicate well with them, or what the reason? They like you so much. I can feel.
Oh, well, thank you. But the reality is that we try to really. It's a shift in how you do this type of work, and it's not me. It's an entire team. Maybe you will not have the time to meet all of them, but there are more than 150 people working for these activities in the whole landscape. Yangambi is one point. They are the ones that are committed to really go and shake hands and live with the people in the villages where we conduct activities.
Yeah.
And that is why I think that's the change compared to the past, where teams of people would come, not everywhere, of course, I cannot generalize, but they would come, deliver a message, do it, and then you go home.
So finally, I want from you a very short message that it's Africa is safe, Africa is fine, everything is okay. Come to Africa. Tell us your experience in a short message.
I work in the environmental topics.
Yeah.
I work for the forest, in the forest. I think this is the best place to be in terms of trying to do good for our planet. And that's why Sub-Saharan Africa, or Africa in general, is a place with many challenges, but also the place where the solutions for the future of us and our children can be found.
Thank you so much, Mr. Paulo, really.
You're welcome.
مشاهدي زوم أفريقيا، فاصل راجع لكم تاني احنا في ينجنبي. مشاهدي زوم أفريقيا، برحب بحضراتكم من مدينة ينجنبي، المدينة اللي بتستضيف المؤتمر التحضيري للعلماء قبل قمة المناخ 27 اللي هتعقد في القاهرة في نوفمبر. ومعايا دلوقتي أحد أهم العلماء اللي بقاله 30 سنة بيعمل أبحاث عن تغير المناخ. هو كونغولي الأصل وعايش في جنوب أفريقيا، مستر بروفيسور جون بيير مولومبا. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
So if we start to talking about your profession.
Yes, I'm a professor from the School of Telecommunication and Teledetection, specialty in Kinshasa University of Pedagogy in Kinshasa.
Okay, great. When you talk about the climate change,
yes,
it's a mega problem all over the world.
Yeah.
So what's your opinion and what do you do research to tell us your opinion about this climate change and how we can solve it?
Yes, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. You know, climate change is about the change of climate parameters over the years. So the world have noticed that the concentrations of some gases in the atmosphere has increased. So the increasing of those gases has made the earth to become a bit much warmer than before.
Yeah.
So that is why they talking about the climate change. So the climate change brings about so many changes in the world, in the biosphere. It means in vegetation and animals, water, and so on.
Yeah.
So that is why that as a scientist we have together to share ideas on how to decrease the effect of climate change in the world. Yeah.
That's why you are here.
That's why we are here.
Okay.
And also being here is just to show the world the contribution of the Congo as a solution country in terms of sequestration of those greenhouse gases.
Tell us more about this. You tell us Congo, it's the solution.
Yes,
Yeah.
Congo is the solution because we hosting the second forest in the world.
Wow.
After Amazonia. Right. With this forest, we are able to capture more carbonic gas. Right, that is hitting actually our planet. That's the reason why we would like the world to know that we have that potential of regulating temperature and regulating climate to those sequestration of those gases.
Okay.
Those greenhouse gases.
Okay.
To our vegetation.
Yeah.
And you can see the vegetation, how green it is. Yeah. So without the vegetation, there is no trapping of carbonic gas. But since we have a very big surface of forest, that's why we're saying that the world can help us actually to maintain this forest, to protect it, to conserve it, so that we can be able to fight against the increasing of temperature in the planet.
Okay, you told me by 2050, if there is no solution, the Earth...
The world will disappear.
Yeah.
Why? Because we are actually fighting about the increase of 1.5 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have to maintain that path. Because if we can go beyond, let's say 2050, if we reach 2.5 degrees, which means that some trees, some crops will collapse. There won't be any growth anymore because the vegetation won't be supporting that incoming and outgoing radiation from the sun.
Yeah.
All right. So, there will be a kind of disturbance in the world ecosystem. Yeah.
Okay, and also you told me a very interesting thing about you can see the sky and read the weather.
Yes.
Yeah. How you do that?
That is meteorology. I'm a meteorologist. I did my undergraduate studies doing meteorology. So we do understand as a atmospheric physics. I do understand of all the phenomena that is happening in the sky, in the earth. So I can see from my eyes, for experience, 30 years experience, I can say tomorrow it's gonna rain, or maybe there is a big strong wind coming, or so many things are happening just by the eyes, but it's not in an accurate way. But at least we need to use satellites and ground-based instruments to predict the weather very well.
So today it's going to rain?
Yeah, probably. According to the meteor, I've seen that there might be some rain, around 51%. Yeah, in the evening today. But it's very, it's not very accurate because we do have to check it with the ground-based instrument. The satellite itself, it can predict but the accuracy is a little bit a challenge for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Professor Jean-Pierre.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
مشاهدي زوم أفريقيا، احنا ستيل مع حضراتكم في مدينة ينجنبي والقمة التحضيرية لمؤتمر العلماء والباحثين اللي هم هيقولوا لنا ايه النتائج اللي نقدر نخرج بيها من مؤتمر المناخ علشان الكلايمت تشينج. احنا معانا دلوقتي بروفيسور إيمانويل. Welcome to our program Zoom Africa.
Thank you.
Are you from Belgium, right?
Right, I'm from Belgium. I'm a Belgian, yeah.
Can you introduce your title and what you do?
I'm teaching at the biggest university of Belgium, called KU Leuven, Catholic University of Leuven.
Okay.
It's a very old university. That's the first university of Europe.
Oh, okay, great.
And so I teach agriculture science, and I do research in plant breeding, food technology, soil microbiology.
Okay, now you are here in Yangambi, okay?
Yeah.
To make some research and do a presentation.
Correct.
Yeah. What's inside the presentation?
There are 3 different subjects which I am supposed to present.
Okay.
But 12 years ago, I was invited here on an expedition, especially in this area.
Yeah.
How to develop the area without damaging the forest.
Yeah.
And this area, only small farmers cultivating crops like manioc or maize in a small way. A little bit of slash and burn technique of the forest. They didn't destroy much. So my connection in your question, I mean, how it started was, so 12 years ago, in my expedition I found the forest can be utilized sustainably without destroying any trees. At that time, the timber vultures, if I call it, were already busy approaching, but the government was still resistant, sticking to their moratorium that no logging is allowed. Some of the other few companies managed to...
Yeah, because Congo, it's very important country.
Yes.
To save us in a climate
Absolutely.
change. That you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Because their carbon sequestration means the carbon dioxide emission, right? Stopping the amount compared to Amazon forest, compared to Indonesian forest, compared to Borneo Malaysian forest is low.
Wow. Okay.
So, because in those basins, indiscriminate destruction of the forest to cultivate palm oil, which we Europeans buy.
Yeah.
But we, last 7 years, we have given some sanction against Indonesia and Malaysia as well. Yeah, we don't want to buy palm oil because we are destroying the forest.
Really, thank you so much, Professor Emmanuel, to be with us in Zoom Africa.
Okay, yes, I will.
وبكده تكون خلصت رحلتنا من قلب الكونغو الديمقراطية. عشنا حياتهم وشفنا أهم المناطق في مدينة ينجنبي، تاني أكبر غابة في العالم، وكمان عشنا تفاصيل مؤتمر العلماء اللي جايين من كل دول العالم لمحاربة تغير المناخ. استنونا في حلقات جديدة زوم أفريقيا من قلب القارة السمراء.